So I want to tell you about the time that the spec sheet was off by about 300 hours when it came to the engines. Hey guys, what's up? My name is Tom Lelio, and on this channel I pull back the curtain on private aviation to help you buy and sell your jet so that you can live that jet life to the full. So it was probably about 2 years ago. We had a beautiful Citation 501 for sale. Now, interior and exterior were mint. The avionics were somewhat updated, but they weren't, a full glass panel or anything. And the engines only had a couple hundred hours remaining. As you know, the value of the aircraft is found in the engines and how much time is remaining. I think this probably had about 400 or 500 hours remaining on the engines. Anyway, we go through the market, we finally get an offer pretty close to the asking price. We move into the pre-buy. As they're going through the pre-buy, the borescope checks out well, the physical inspection looks good, a couple ticky-tacky things, and then comes the logbook review. Well, upon reviewing the logs, we find out that the engines actually have about 200 to 300 hours less than what was advertised. Kind of a big deal. Now, when I went back to the seller, he of course told me, well, I'm not sure exactly what happened. I was just going based off the information that my shop told me. Went back to the shop and they just said, hey, we weren't, keeping too close of an eye on it, and they were using their own little maintenance tracking software, and everyone just kept pointing fingers. But when you went back to the logbooks, you did the math, we found out that in reality, the engines did not have the amount of life, the amount of time that we thought they did. So I go back to the buyer and I present the reality of the situation with him, and he is livid. He hits the ceiling and he just completely loses it, and rightfully so. I understand, you were looking at one thing and this has turned into another. And so at the end of the day, the owner had to take a considerable price concession based on the amount of time left on the engines. But fortunately, the buyer was open to this, not just for the price concession, but he also understood the value of purchasing the aircraft even with the timed out engines. He knew he had options, whether he was going to put on a flex program or hot section them or whatever it was going to be. He knew he still had options even when it came time for the engines to be worked on. Now, what I learned from that is it's important to do your due diligence when it comes to a pre-buy. The spec sheet is kind of a jumping off point, but the purpose of the pre-buy is to make sure you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. I'll give you another example. Just yesterday, we were at a pre-buy, and a couple of things popped up. Most notably, the air conditioning wasn't blowing as hard as the buyer would have liked. The logbooks hadn't been updated on SESCOM. So after the pre-buy, basically the squawk list was, tell me what's going on with the air conditioning and show me an updated SESCOM. Now, this wasn't an attack on the owner to say you didn't take care of your plane. It's just the buyer wants to know what he is getting himself into. Therein lies the point of the story. The pre-buy is to show you what you're getting yourself into. It's not to show that the plane is perfect. And I encourage you to have an open mind when it comes to these situations. You can be very creative. You can ask the owner to fix things. You could fix things yourself and take a price concession, or you can walk away. And even in the situation where you have to walk away from an aircraft because it's not the right fit for you, know that you did your due diligence and you still had a successful pre-buy. Thanks a lot for listening to this video. My name is Tom Lelio. You can find me on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on TikTok at Tom Lelio. Go ahead and send me an email, tom@intlams.com. For more stories like this and tips for buying and selling your jets, click the subscribe button below. If you liked it, hit that like button and comment below on some of your stories when it came to a pre-buy. I look forward to seeing you in the future. Have a great day.